Hello everyone, my name is Brandon Naughton. I'm here at Truce Media, going live to quite a few people out there. We are here in the studio and I've got Josh Dillard.
Hello.
There he is. So pulling him up. We're going to go into some of the nitty gritty of the technical side when it comes to live streaming or even just what we call shoot the post or film the post. So if you're going to film it, edit it, and then live stream it, that's another good option as well. So as you can see, we're kind of here in our studio. I'm actually remote controlling our live switching computer from here and trying not to create insane feedback loops. So far so good. I think we've got it all under control, and I've got Josh calling in. And I'll kind of show you kind of the back end of our system here a little bit as well as we get going. But what I'm using is vMix, and we've kind of spoken about that. But I just want to say again, thanks to vMix. They are supporting this mission here, and they've put up 2 licenses that are equivalent to around $1,400 in value. So we're looking forward to giving those away, and it's just a great thing to give. So again, I'm going to scoot over this way a little bit, give Josh his space. So Josh, again, he's calling in natively through vMix. So he's on his cell phone or iPad? Laptop,
yeah.
Yeah, and on this version that they're actually giving away, you can have up to 4 people simultaneously call in. So you have 4 people call in, plus I can be sitting here as the host. So it's very flexible, and it really gives you a good ability to control. And again, I'll go into some of the back end of this system, and then I'm going to go over kind of starting at the bare basics at the beginning with your cell phone all the way up to like a multicam setup. So I've got some slides to show, but I wanted to kind of just talk to Josh real quick and kind of give you a background on him. He can kind of introduce himself.
Yeah, you can hear me all right, Brandon?
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, my name is Josh Dillard. I'm actually calling in from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm part of Truce there in Denver, Colorado as a remote player, if you will. And I'm also working for a nonprofit organization. That's why I'm out here doing most of the video for this organization. So a lot of what we do is events. We do live stream for those events, multi-camera, huge events in arenas, big conference centers. And we usually use about 3, 4, 5 different cameras direct to live stream in order to broadcast those events straight to YouTube, straight to Facebook. And we also do video that isn't live stream, and just make a lot of different content. So my expertise is more of just content creation, but the live stream element is something me and Brandon have been doing for the last 3 years now, I guess, with different projects. One including a project called For the Love of Locals, which was a live music event that we did in a studio with Red cameras, which, if you're not familiar with those, are some very top-end $50,000 cameras that we would patch in to Facebook to create a live show, something that was, I still think is unmatched in a lot of arenas in the music showcase, because we had, a small crew, people on a small jib, people walking around giving movement to the show, and that's what your audiences actually want. Subconsciously, they don't know that they want those things, but if you're stagnant in your shots, it really shows, and it gives the viewer nothing to watch, and you'll see your rates and your people who tune in will drop. So I think I'm dropping frames here, but it's kind of a quick background on me, and then I'll turn it over to Brandon. He can start to go into some of the technical stuff that we're implementing.
Cool. And kind of going back to Love of Locals, it kind of really proved to me that entire program that we were doing was all volunteer based. So we just had a lot of volunteer shooters come in, and there was times we did a shoot with 2 to 3 of us, and I was running all the technical back end, and then I just let Alex run the switcher and went upstairs and started playing around on cameras, and I would run one camera and then hop on another camera, and you can make it work. You can always make it work. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the key. It's like really just fulfilling the bare necessities first. Make sure you get the bottom, the back end and everything set up to be easy and consistent, and then you can start playing around on the front end. So I'll kind of show one of the slides here real quick, and I'll cut back to me here. But you can see, there's Josh again. Oh, don't keep playing. Pause. All right, we're going a little ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah, get
All right.
ahead.
Yeah. So, all right. So I wanted to go over the technical aspects. So one of the things we always look at is camera considerations. Obviously, everyone's budget is different. So you're looking at something where, somebody's budget might be nothing. Somebody's budget might be $1,000. Somebody's budget might be $50,000. So it all just depends on where they want to get to quality-wise. And there's happy mediums and getting quality, and then adding more and more features on there. So really camera considerations start as low as the smallest cell phone, or any cell phone really. There's different considerations there that you can go all the way up to, again, Red Dragon cameras that we've used for cinematic, we've done live broadcasting with. So, again, there's a wide gamut. So we'll look into some camera considerations real quick in detail. And then audio considerations. Again, audio is so key, and there's so many things that people overlook when it comes to audio. Again, it was stated earlier, if the audio sounds bad, people will jump out immediately. So it's really key to just get a bare basics stereo mix that sounds representative of where you're at. So we'll start there, and then we'll work up to like multi-channel mixing and getting more complex. And then again, live switching or post-edit. So if you have the capability to live switch, obviously if you're moving from building to building, it's going to be very difficult to set up a full switcher and kind of all the equipment and everything needed. There's a few ways we can get around that when you're mobile. So there are some really good ways to live switch that don't require as much equipment and gear, but it is gear heavy. So that's where you have to decide, okay, well, can we film, get really great shots, get great angles, and get what we need to go to edit, and then you can post edit that, and then make sure everything is synchronized. And that's kind of our next point. One of the biggest things I see online is a lot of people go either live or not live, and they play it out a certain program. And there's always going to be latency issues, and you want to make sure to test those out ahead of time, either through a private page or something. You really want to test those out fully, because if somebody's clapping, and the clapping is always happening early, because usually sound goes through the processing quicker than video. Video tends to lag on processing through a computer or a phone. If you're plugging directly into a phone, it marries the two. So it does the processing together. So it helps on the synchronization side. But as soon as people start mixing cameras with audio boards, you start seeing very high synchronization issues, and people are not talking and their mouth is all out of sync. And I think that lends to people just kind of tuning out very quickly. And then again, the play out, there's some free play out options. And then there's other ways to add more pizzazz and more features, such as VMix, where you can play it out and add lower third titles and videos and inserts and different things that we'll kind of go over real quick. And then again, quality assurance. I have my brother in Atlanta. I've got my dad in Florida. I've got some friends in California. I kind of always try to have somebody, if you're trying to reach a certain area, or if you know where you're going, just always have somebody that you can quickly message and test the link and check, because servers are around the entire world, around the entire country as well. So what I see here in Denver in my local servers may be completely different than what I see in Atlanta, and a lot of the things that we were live streaming was out to a lot of people, thousands and thousands. So that kind of plays to that. So I'll go to this kind of next slide here. I wanted to kind of go over again, one of the camera considerations was, again, you can use a Google Pixel 4, you can use an iPhone. We always recommend using a tripod. So, rather than standing there holding the phone, stability has gotten a lot better on phones these days, but obviously an iPhone tripod, or one that holds a Google Pixel 4, any of the cell phone tripods, we really recommend lining it up for if you're going to do the music, line it up into a really nice shot of the entire band, make it look, as well framed as you can, centered. And then if, once you go into the sermon, if you're going to post edit it and not live stream it, I would take that photo, move it up and get it closer so that you have more interaction with the pastor. On here, we kind of see on the audio inputs, I've got there's like a Rode stereo microphone, a Zoom stereo microphone, a Shure microphone. These are all like $100 to $200 in that range. You can plug these right into your cell phone, and it gives you a very, very crisp stereo mix. So if your mix of your music or whatever's going on at your church sounds good in the space that you're in, this should be able to help replicate that and solve some problems and make it sound more reasonable. Again, since this is connected straight to the phone, you're not going to have synchronization issues. You're going to go straight to the internet. And again, some of the options, Vimeo live stream is $75 a month, but it allows you to go to all the different platforms and a website at the same time. And it's all more cloud-based. And again, these are all Wi-Fi based. So, you want to make sure you have a strong signal there.
So maybe, Brandon, before you move on, you can give a quick con and pro and con of using your cell phone, right? It's a cheap mechanism that I think everyone maybe starts with or thinks that they can do a lot with, and it's true. Like cell phones have progressed, you can get a lot of good quality out of them, but it's just how you use them, and you got to be able to know how to use them. Something like a mic, a Zoom mic plugged into your phone with your mix going into that out is essential. Like I've seen so many live streams where somebody's just holding the phone, and I don't know who's going to watch that. I don't know who in their right mind would watch that, honestly. Like it doesn't help. You can't understand, you can't hear what's being said half the time. And then things are shaking so much, like your audio. Imagine I don't know if anyone's ever seen Cloverfield back in like 2008. It was like the shakiest movie to ever exist. That's what it's like when you do that. And so you can use your phone on a tripod with something like a Rode mic or something that a mix can go into and then go out. And the pros to that are that it's inexpensive, relatively inexpensive. Some cons to that are just quality. You are going to get compression when you go out from your phone, and if your phone isn't producing that much quality, it's going to show. Also, you don't have as many options manually, so if you don't have great lighting on that stage, you might not be able to adjust as well on your phone, so your picture's going to suffer in that regard. So and then a lot of noise, as you can see on my on my screen, there's a lot of noise from my camera on my laptop, and that's the stuff you want to avoid, right? Brandon's in our studio, he's using a camera. This kind of shows the difference of someone who just opens their laptop and you can kind of see the granule noise, which it's just not pretty. And then compared to Brandon, I mean, he's smooth, he's a gorgeous man, and he's got a nice camera on him, right? So like this is the difference. Mine's relatively very inexpensive. It gets the job done, but I would rather engage with Brandon than engage with me when it comes to long form content solely based on audio quality and visual. So that's something to consider when you're choosing the phone.
Definitely.
A great starting off point, but you really want to move past that, but it's a great starting point.
Yeah. And I think, again, that kind of begs to make a decision up front on whether you do want to really go live, or if you can film and go to post with it. Because you can get some really nice camera angles and shots with an iPhone, and they've made commercials with iPhones now and done it as a test to show that, wow, you can get cool shots, but they didn't do it live. And that's kind of the key on that, is like you took this thing and you got some really nice shots and then you edit it. And so, if you can't invest in that infrastructure up front, it's always better to think about it and make that decision and have a phase 1, 2, and 3 approach. So phase 1 is we're going to film, we're going to get good quality, we're going to focus on recording audio well, we're going to get our basics down, and then we're going to move to like phase 2 and then phase 3 of like the full implementation of multicam. So I'll show this next kind of slide here. This is actually another good option. Again, it's very mobile, and they call this the Mevo Plus. I don't want to, don't, hope it doesn't like play. Okay, there we go. Some reason it played. So the Mevo Plus is a 4K camera. On it comes with its own stand and a kit and everything. And you can actually plug microphones right into it. So you can go through like a Rode M5 pair. I've got some pricing on that. You can look those up. It's just a matched pair set. So they sound good. You got left, you got right. You know, it sounds like your ears. You get the atmosphere in the space you're in. Or you can go straight from an audio board into the system and it'll record it as well. So you can record, but it records a 4K signal, which is what you see here. But it'll allow you, using your cell phone, to control and multicam switch tighter into different places and back out and in. So it's just kind of an all-in-one kind of a solution on that end. And you can go through, again, Vimeo, live stream, or Wowza actually with it as well. So, and just Wowza.com. Wowza has a cloud service. It gets a little more technical again, but it allows you to do multiple streams, multiple different places. Pretty cost effective at $50 a month starting, and then they charge once you reach a certain amount of hours of usage and bandwidth. There's usage charges, but again, very cost effective and economical in a world today where, you know, sending video out like this is used to be insanely expensive. Now we're at a place where now it is not. You know, we're at a place where you know, all this can be done. It's all going out to everybody, and it's cost effective, and it's not overloading one server. It's on thousands upon thousands of servers and being replicated and moved around in bits. So, you know, all those services are based off of Amazon and such, but yeah, it just really makes things better today. So, you know, again, like Josh kind of mentioned, with a Mevo bundle like this, you want to definitely focus on getting the best audio. This gives you a great multicam option, and then you can go out to the world. Let's see. And then I'll kind of go into our third iteration here real quick. Cut to this. Josh is still there. All right, so on a cinematic setting, I guess this is, you know, this is more of again, you want the impact like this. Like what you're seeing here is a camera, like a DSLR, like a, you know, like a Canon, a GH5 or GH4, the Blackmagic Micro Cinema, the Blackmagic Cinema 4K or 6K will both achieve this look. This is a Blackmagic 6K that we're using with a lens. It's a Cine lens. It's a Rokinon T1.5 Cine lens. It's a 24 millimeter lens. So you get the look where it's you know, sharp, but then out of focus in the background, and it looks amazing. But you can also get a Canon zoom lens, and I kind of put these here, primer zoom lenses. That's kind of the key to getting the look, is the lens. So you got to match the lens with the sensor. And when it comes to Blackmagics or even the GH5s and stuff, you know, a Canon lens or a Rokinon lens will give you a good look. You know, they're anywhere from $200 to $1,200, depending on how long of a lens you get. But, you know, there's just so many in-betweens. And so, like, if you're shooting from the back of a room, you're going to need over 100 millimeters. You're going to need 120 to 200 millimeters if you're shooting from 30, 40 feet away and you want to get a shot from, you know, here to here on somebody. But if you're tight like we are in this small, you know, our small little booth, the camera is maybe 5 feet away, and this is 24 millimeters, so I can get a wide enough realm, short depth of field, and get a good look with this lens. And this lens is around $200. So again, it's you got to pair what you're going to be doing. If you're shooting from the back of rooms, big different story compared to if you're shooting on stage, or if you're right next to the stage, or you can afford to, you know, to be right in front of the pastor 5 feet away and set a camera, and it's not, you know, impeding a service. If there's a way to put it in a way, you know, in a setting where it's not distracting, I guess is the best way to put it. So I think Josh can kind of see this as well, but like, we'll put all these slides up for everybody to see, and I'll keep adding more information. But again, you can have one camera to 5 to 10 cameras. Once you get into this realm, if you stick with only a couple of cameras, you can still run this with a couple of people or 1 to 2 people. And then once you have more and more cameras, you'll need more and more people. Because again, like Josh mentioned, you want movement. You want things moving around. And go ahead, Josh.
A good rule of
Wait, hold on a sec. Okay.
1, 2.
All right, now you're back.
Awesome. A good rule of thumb, I think, and if for setting live stream is to have at least 3 cameras. One for middle, one on the left and the right. And prep on the ones on your left and right you have one that's stagnant and one that's moving. You just want that. You want variation, and it sounds kind of unnecessary, especially to someone who isn't in the video world. People who are in charge of churches, admin, just kind of like, well, we set the cameras up, that's good enough, right? Like, we have different angles, but it's really about engaging the people who are watching so they stay and they want to stay. And actually, it's more about like making it so they aren't distracting. The less things that are distracting, the more they can focus on the message, the more they focus on the music if you're doing worship, and you just don't want things that are ultimately distracting. So subtle camera movements and 3 shots to cut to it feel so boring, honestly, and stagnant is really crucial to maintain your audience. And I know there's a case to be said that it's about the message. If we're talking about preaching or whatnot, and that's true. I get also when you go into like a live stream event, it's about the whole process, the whole show, and just to engage and keep your audience. I think 3 cam is pretty essential.
Definitely. So I'll kind of hold on. So so definitely, one of our let's see, I'll pull this back here for a second. So I mean, the ultimate setup is you definitely want to have a camera on the left, a camera in the center, camera on the right. And that's always key to have your center safety camera is what we call it, and then your left and right, and you would zoom in and you get really nice shots, and you always have your safety in the center. You can go back and forth between that and get really cool shots of the guitar on the left, and then on the right the bass and the drums that are zoom into the singer, and have some different variety. So when you're definitely working towards the end goal of having like a team producing a live stream, or even if you're filming it to go to post, you still want to have that movement and that feel. So that team, if you're not even live streaming, you would still want to be able to direct them and tell them, hey, focus on this, I'm going to cut to that, or like in your head you're cutting if you're not doing it live. So let's see. I want to cut back this for just a second here. I wanted to kind of show, again, your house sound, your synchronization. And I'll kind of show you now the back end of vMix. And again, you can go into Wowza Cloud or Vimeo live stream and go out to YouTube, Facebook, and a website, and all the different platforms, and Twitch and all those places. So it gives you multiple options, and it uses one feed. And that's kind of key to this whole thing, is that if you can get away with doing one feed out and multiplying it up on a server, you can imagine it's going to be a lot less stress than trying to get something out 5 different times at the same time. Most people's internet are 50 megabits download, 5 to 10 megabits upload, and that's pushing it. When you're not in a studio like this, like we have 120 up and down locked, fiber. So therefore, it's like you can do a lot of different things and be guaranteed you're going to get it. When you're at a school and you're using their Wi-Fi and stuff like that, you just you can't really guarantee anything. So being ready for mistakes, being ready for things to drop off, being ready for things to be out of sync at times, having somebody to answer, I think is key, and knowing that people will get used to the idea that, well, every once in a while there's technical issues, but they bring them back up and how to solve them. And we can kind of get into some of those questions. But I'll kind of show you this last little slide here. And then I'll show you the back end of vMix real quick, because I just want to give you an idea of what the switcher looks like. But again, kind of an equipment cost breakdown. If you got a mobile phone, you don't have to pay for that already, but most mobile phones are $700 to $1,000. Tripod, for an iPhone is about $30 on Amazon. Stereo microphones, $100 to $150. Again, Vimeo live stream is $75 a month. And you can play it out from there. So you're looking about an investment of $800 to $1,300. One-man team, you want to have one person trained, one person backup. I think it's always important to have one person, to back up another person, or they take turns. Just keep the stress down and keep the consistency. And you need, if somebody gets sick, as things are happening today, you can't tell if somebody catches a cold or a flu or anything. And you want to make sure you always have a couple of people, a pair, at least two teams. So again, on the Mevo Plus bundle, that actually worked really well with Vimeo Livestream as well. Again, the pricing is all there. I use a Focusrite Scarlett. I use that personally at home for my podcast and for recording remote. You can use anything from a 2i2 up to 18i20, I think is one of the higher ones that they have. But it's just a very easy USB input for your microphones. You can put a pair of headphones in there and listen to exactly what you're getting, and make sure it sounds good. And then again, I put some microphones on here. So again, $1,250, 1 to 2 man team. Now we've got a laptop. Again, I run a lot of stuff on my laptop, which is in the picture you saw with me on the camera here. So again, I use my Blackmagic Pocket 6K. If that was a 4K, those are like $1,250 plus lenses. It was $200. So again, $1,500. My laptop was about, on sale, $1,300 or something like that. So between $1,000 and $1,500 for a reasonable laptop. You can get that at Best Buy with 18 months interest free. Shout out to them, I guess. Focusrite, again, I prefer them. You can use any other preamp, converter. It's essentially a to D converter. But these have built-in preamps with Phantom, so you can run those condenser microphones. And I think one thing we kind of didn't go over was, against condenser microphones, if you're using microphones for the main sound, you want condenser because they pick up more, they're powered, and they sound crisper and cleaner. vMix, there's different, again, you can go on their website, they have different sizes of packages. The 1080 package is like $250 or somewhere on there. It's less, and then the 4K version is $400 or $700. And one of the reasons I really like the 4K version is and I'll cut back to myself in a second, I'll show you this, is that you can push in and pull out on a 4K. You can bring a 4K camera in and send out in 1920 by 1080. You can send out HD, but you're in 4K on the front end, and you're zooming in, you're zooming out. So it's pretty awesome. Again, Wowza the Cloud's only $50 a month. When you have a computer, you can kind of use that in OBS, as well as a back end for extra functionality. But again, you're looking at $3,500 to $4,000. I do recommend a 2-man team. You want to have somebody listening to sound and making sure that all sounds good. And if not, working with the camera while you're focusing on producing the live show. Now the full multicam production setup, 3 cameras, converters, a computer that can handle it, the PCIe cards that can go in it. Again, I've got breakouts. I don't want to do all that on here, so that's something we can work on for the future here. But again, all that roughly comes out to about $3,000 with from the ground up. And then again, a Focusrite 18i20 gives you 18 inputs, which is plenty for $500. vMix, the cloud, integration and wiring. You're going to need wires. You're going to need power. You're going to need all those different things that kind of add up and are miscellaneous. So again, a really, really good, reasonable system that does multicam should run you about $12,000 to $15,000 in that range. And it's just good to kind of think of that ahead of time and budget. It's going to be around $12,000 to $15,000, and it might be higher, depending on your circumstances and if you're shooting from the back of the room and stuff like that. Again, a 2 to 3 man team is more than enough for that. So, the 2 to 3 man team, I would want to have 4 to 6 people, at least 6 people, trained and ready to go, and just keep them involved and swap them out and have some of them run Wednesday night services or something. You want to kind of have that like A team, B team effect, because you just need people on hand. So give them something to be in charge of and learn and grow from there. Maybe, like I said, some people are talking about children's services. If you can do a one-man children's service and they bring them up through that and get them in the system, they'll I think people, when they get their hands on it, they become more invested in it and they want to be around. So, yeah, that's kind of that whole part of it. And any other things you wanted to kind of add in there, Josh, before we go into vMix? I'll show them the back end.
Nothing offhand. I think you covered most of everything in the breakdown. That's the kind of recommended pricing to get the best bang for your buck, and also to be efficient and to take your live stream to a level that you're going to need if you want to do consistent live streams.
Cool. And I'll start showing them here a little bit. So like, again, lower thirds are kind of cool. I can say, hey, it's me, Brandon Naughton from Truce Media. Again, I'm remoting all this. So normally you'd have somebody doing this while I'm talking so I can just focus on you guys at home. But I can do this from my home in Parker and, run the same system remotely. And so, with all the things that are going on in today's society, that's great, to be able to run things remotely and have this kind of flexibility. So I'll kind of show you the back end here. So, it's a little, wow, yeah, it's a little, you can see, it's a little, overwhelming, right? Now, so again, try to make this as simple as possible, but you can see I can choose, like all my different inputs. I can choose. On the left side is my preview screen, on the right is what's going out to the world. So you guys are seeing everything. You're seeing the whole background, the whole mess, and what's cool though is that all these elements that you can add to your story, with lower thirds and everything else, I can just pop that on and, hey, thanks again to our sponsors. So, we'll answer some questions here, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick view into the back end of what it is I'm doing. So, this back end can be very confusing, but with guidance, that's kind of what we're here for. And, we love to work with churches, and we love to do consulting and working with everybody's plans. I think that's kind of the key to this, is that there's just never a cookie cutter fit for everything. I mean, there's basics when you're at the bottom of like what can work and get you started, but I think it's really comes down to that, you have to customize like this. I mean, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5 multiple audio channels. You can kind of see here, I can bring up my music. So, while we're talking, at the end of a transition between people, you can bring that music in. I can play on the left side here. You can kind of see the church, the logo, the Quarantine Church logo that can go out to the world. I can bring, Josh up here. He's on a remote wait. He's just sitting there waiting, even though you don't see him on screen. He's there, and again, I can decide to hey, let's bring him up and put him up in that top right corner while I go, over to a test of myself I did earlier in the day. You can see I'm a frozen picture there. So, just such flexibility, and this is the difference. I mean, OBS is a free platform for live streaming, so that's a good platform as well, but you get your money's worth when you have a platform that's so powerful as this, to be able to play out video. That is kind of, to me, the key. If you can start your live programming with a looping video that talks about what it is you're doing and where you're going and how you want people to connect, all that loops. It doesn't matter if you're 5 minutes late. It doesn't matter even if you're 10 minutes late, but you're able to put messages out there and start that live stream, multiple, like 15 minutes ahead of time, and it just loops, and it's going to reach more people that way. And then when you go and transition to coming back to live, and I switch back over to me, now I'm live and I'm going out to the world. And so you can very easily produce a show that looks good and works well, and you don't have to recreate the wheel every time. And that's what I kind of try to focus on with the build. I didn't kind of go into some of my background, but like I've built out, some mega infrastructure for 4K live streaming in multiple venues, and Josh can attest, like with what he was kind of talking about with for the level of locals, to run a 4K live stream with multiple Red Dragon cameras with like 3 people is unheard of. And that's what I want to really focus and emphasize on, is that like that's what we kind of really promote here at Truce is, how can we achieve the goals with the least amount of people to start, and then bring more people on and train more people so you have backups. And then once you've got more than enough backups, then you can like expand the team and grow from there, and just continue to increase when it comes to the production quality, because a lot of that is not equipment. A lot of it is just, I guess, the creative part of it.
And there's like a strategy to that as well as like, what are you pumping out? If you do a live stream, you could take some of those elements from the live stream and make those actual individual pieces of media that you can pump out like later in the week.
Yeah.
Having a class tomorrow, so you guys stay tuned. Tomorrow, I'll be teaching. I'll be talking about my experience in that world and creating content based off of live streams, based off of a multitude of different things, and the strategy behind that. So you guys can implement that and just know how to do it.
Let's see. And then I guess, we can look through some questions here if you guys have any recent questions. I've been looking at vMix and running this whole thing kind of remotely, so I didn't really get a chance to see too many questions yet, but let's see. And I guess, what is the best way to get trained on the back end? I mean, I guess that kind of comes down to like the consulting options and packages that we kind of provide. I think that's where, you really just see that one-on-one FaceTime. Like, what is it, through Zoom, what is it that, what is it you have? And what do you want to achieve, and how can we get there? And it's just a mix of different pieces, and then making sure that we, balance your manpower to the equipment you have. And so that's really kind of the key on that, is just spending, a couple of hours really just nailing down your situation, and then, providing the best solution.
Also with that, Brandon, it's, you're only as good as the knowledge that you have with this stuff. And as complicated as that did look when Brandon brought it up, it's actually not that complicated. Like a quick, couple hour live one-on-one demonstration of a platform like this one is really simple. And then, that's, another reason we are here is consult and just get people to understand the software, understand all the feeds and how everything works and all the signals work, and just make sure that you are savvy.
Yeah. And Wismar put on here, our live stream team consists of 8 people on a rotation, 4 cameras, a technical director, and a director. So, I think that's, again, really kind of shows you the level of where you want to be, is that, you've got 4 cameras, but I always kind of say you have your safety. That one doesn't need to be manned. So you can have, 2 people man cameras. You want to have your technical director, which is what I'm doing right here, operating the switcher, and then a director who's looking at the shots. So, kind of breaking down the team, that's just such a later, I guess, it's a later discussion too. It's kind of more advanced, if people are already there, that would be, maybe the 2.0 version after this for a select session maybe. But, if you're already in that place, because I definitely see where it says like, if this is something a church isn't already doing, what is the average learning curve to pull this off effectively? And I think that's key. I think most learning curves for almost anything, your first time you do it is just going to be a mess. It's going to be a learling curve in itself. You're just going to like do it, and that's the key. It's just doing it.
Like
yes.
You could know everything, and then you get there and something goes wrong that you haven't even seen, like bandwidth issues, Wi-Fi issues, there's a wire that's messed up, so you're not getting the signal. Like so many things on the troubleshooting end, and so that's where expertise comes in. I mean, any uh, knowing what you're doing and how to fix things if they go wrong is the part you're essentially getting paid for, right? And
Yeah.
so teaching that is going to take a little bit of time, but we've messed up so many times that we understand like all the issues. Like we know what is, I say we collectively in our experience as as content creators. There's been instances where I've done a live stream and my frame rate wasn't right, and so like it doesn't go out at all, and I'm just like banging my head against the wall, like why isn't it going out? Why isn't it going out? And it's something as simple as a frame rate. So
Yeah.
to be able to understand like those issues is something that we can definitely teach you, and just maybe even create like a checklist of all the things to look for in case something goes wrong.
Yeah, and one of the things I saw in here too, and I think a lot of people, I guess it's different if you're in a church too. People don't understand. I mean, if one location has one internet source, you only have as much bandwidth as that internet source has. So if a church or a school or a hotel, wherever you're having your service at, if they're like, hey, we've got 20 megabits, that's our speed. And you do go to speedtest.net, and you test it out, and you're like, okay, well, I got 5 up. Well, if everybody in the service, you have 30, 40, 50, 80 people come in and they all hop on the Wi-Fi, that speed's gone. And so knowing that you need to plan and be able to block some out, if your church has its own Wi-Fi, everybody has 5G and whatnot these days, you might want to consider and say, we should probably just cut off the Wi-Fi. Don't give the people in this, people just coming in, just make it private and use it for people that, that are working and doing things in the church, but not making it, a service of giving Wi-Fi out. Because what happens is if you don't take the router side and go in and manage it and say, hey, we got to keep X amount of, upload and download. I recommend, you need at least 5 to 10. Most of that I've seen are 20 megabit upload, but you can't get past 8 to 10 before it starts throttling. And throttling is like, you can imagine video bytes the size of chunks. Once you get over 8 to 10, they start like just losing frames and dropping out, and it goes up and down and up and down and just throttles. And so you want to find something that's very smooth. So 6,000 megabit or 6,000 kilobits or 6 megabits is what Facebook kind of recommends for 1080. That's why they kind of have that as a set. So you need at least 6, but you can imagine if you have 10 megabits upload and you're using 6, that leaves you 4. And so that's a good amount of space to leave. But I just see it all the time where you give out free internet for everybody and then you don't keep some for the live stream. You're going to have problems, and everything was working before the service, then during the service nothing's going out. So I think that's the other part I always see is that the Murphy's Law. Something can't go wrong, it will go wrong, and that's what you got to be ready to solve those problems on a fly, and know from past experiences. So learning curve wise, on the smallest level, you want to dedicate a good week, I'd say, of really just diving in, and then I'd say after about 3 to 4 events, you'll feel more comfortable, and as time goes by. Until you get to the higher levels and whatnot, but it's definitely one of those things. It takes time to master. But on a lower level, I would say if it's just phones and different smaller capturing devices, that's one good solid day. But then you're going to mess up. You're going to try it 1 or 2 times, and you'll get it right a couple times, and then you'll find those inherent bugs that you just know you're going to have to work around. So let's see if there's any other questions here. See, people are using some, the ATEM. I actually have the Production 4K switcher as well, which is, a live switcher. One of the things that's actually good to point out about that, like I have the 4K Production ATEM, and it's really great for live broadcast and for switching. One of the things that's interesting about it, though, is that, I mean, you do have to plug a laptop into one of the sources to play video through it. And then the other thing is it's really good for if you're just, like, we went live in Montana out in the middle of nowhere for a big, huge event. It had all the screens going, the LED screens, and we're doing live cuts of all that material. That was what I used that for because I was recording locally on the cameras. Now, if you're recording locally on the cameras, that's a good option. Again, I love vMix for the fact that it has a multi-quarter. So you can actually have a SSD hard drive, hook it up. You can record all the different camera inputs separately. So you can have a multi-cam recording of all the cameras without having to record locally if you can't do that. It says, how are you bringing your inputs into the computer? There's a Blackmagic Quad HDMI card I recommend. That's a really good input card. And then there's, you can go SDI input. Again, SDI is good if you're using like Red Dragon cameras or a Cinema Quality, Sony, those kind of cameras. If you're using a Blackmagic, those are all HDMI outputs. So we're using all HDMI on those. So I think that's kind of key. What do you recommend to input audio from a practicing mic into a high-end smartphone? A preaching mic, I'm sorry. Input audio from a preaching mic into a high-end smartphone. I think kind of Josh had mentioned that a little bit earlier, but you want to...
High-end mic into the phone?
Yeah, I think there, I mean, if you're going from a high-end preaching mic, you might be coming out of a mixer, and then you would want to go either a 1/4 inch or XLR to 1/8 of an inch, or into the headphone jack, and then monitor it.
Yeah. So Brandon, on that slide that he had shown us, there's a little Rode mic with a volume knob, and might have been a couple other knobs, but that can go straight into your phone, and then you can take the signal from your mixer straight into that as an input, and then that can be your audio signal out to Facebook if you're using a phone, or you can use the headphone jack. Phone, you might have issues if there's depending on the platform you're going out, there might be issues with that if you use that.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of good answering going on in all the questions. Everybody's just chatting away, so that's good. So
smart.
Yeah. Well, we're all helping.
We figured it out.
I know they already solved it. So let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any other really good questions here. I think we're like 5 minutes over on our time, but there's nothing like right behind us. So I thought we'd go a little longer answering any questions, just to like 2:30 max. So we got about 10 minutes if anybody has any other questions. Yeah.
I might have to have a hard cut now, Brandon. But you're more than I know. If there are any more questions, Brandon is the man.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll say bye to Josh then, real quick. Thanks for
guys, and make sure to stop by tomorrow. Bring a class on content creation, dope, and just what it takes to pump stuff out. We can build the brand. I say brand hesitantly because the churches and brands, it's just kind of a weird mix because we are churches, but in order to pump out stuff consistent so that people know who the church is and want to come and engage.
It's got to cut a little bit.
Well, later.
All right, we'll see you.
All right, see you.
All right, well, yeah, so I think we're kind of towards the end of this, and let's see if there's just any last minute questions, and then we'll kind of, they go by so fast. There's a couple hundred people. So yeah, I guess we can answer more questions. It's I'll answer more through the event. If you have any, just put them in there, and we'll kind of go through those. But yeah, I think hopefully this gives you a little bit of background. There's a lot of students. There's just a lot of film students in most cities. Like especially here, even in Colorado, most of them leave and go to California because everybody wants to go out there and do film, and they've got more of a robust system in place for that. But keeping them in your town, if they want to be there and they want to work, this is a great option to bring them in and train them and teach them, and they get hands-on experience, and they're obviously going to be more apt to learning quicker, and then you can learn as you go, and they can help teach you as well. So that's kind of key to that. So well, yeah, I don't see any more like technical questions. So I guess what do you suggest for syncing color of cams? We use an A7R3 and A6600. Well, I mean, again, on vMix there is a color correction suite. It's got all the dials, and it's got multiple like your highlights and your shadows and everything. So it's really good to do any tweaks like that. I mean, I try to get most matching as tight as possible in the camera. So playing with the two of them to make sure that your tint is right and not green, unless you're going for that look. It's usually on the positive side. And then depending on where you're at, are you cooler or hotter? Are you going to be down in the on the Kelvin scale? Are you going to be down in the 3200? Or are you going to be up in the 5600 realm? Make that decision ahead of time. Don't have one at 5600 and one at 3200. One's going to look blue, one's going to look warm, and kind of pink. It's getting sad. My question seemed ignored. All right, Troy. Anything for video editing on Chromebook? Yeah, I think. I've used Adobe Rush. I don't know if that's on Chromebook though, but I've used Adobe Rush on my phone. I film stuff on my phone. Use Adobe Rush, can edit right then and there. So Adobe Rush is pretty awesome. You can add they have little moving lower thirds and stuff, so it's pretty easy for social media stuff. You can film with your phone, take it, immediately edit it, and then it'll save a version off to your photos folder on your iPhone or whatever, and then you can just upload that straight to Facebook. So that's a really good option as well if you haven't used Adobe Rush. I think that's kind of the key, is if you're at the beginning stages, you want to not have to move media around as much. So if I'm shooting on this thing, having to take it and send it somewhere and then move it and edit it there and then drop it over here and push it there, it's going to be so confusing you'll never get it done. So using something like that will make it key. But looks like we'll
need to go
be wrapping it up.
Expo, yeah.
All right, Expo's starting up. So thank you all for joining us. Again, I'll be in the comments area. I'll answer whatever I can as we're going. But thanks for joining, and we will see you on the next one.
Devil. Like I had 2 left feet. I could 2-step in high school, hit him with the watch my feet. Tiptoe around the truth, cause I could just get my way. So I would go and dance